Yo, yo, yo. What's up, everybody? Let's start this shit. Good morning, Harukanan. And Gerard, sorry for the pronunciation, but welcome. And thank you for the kind words about the cell shading rigging character videos. I appreciate it. Unfortunately, I don't have any experience with 3.js, so I don't know if that's possible. But would love to hear about your results if you get them. And what's up, Tutu Apps? How are you doing today? So, for the last and the entirety of last week, all we pretty much did was to slowly but surely improve these visuals. The visuals of the grass, and that's probably what we're gonna keep doing today as well. For the most part, they look pretty damn good actually, but like it can always look better, I think. And I wonder, yeah, this is where we're gonna start today. So let's just draw a couple like these and jump into the shader and see what it looks like. Gerard just subbed on Twitter so I can follow your dev. Appreciate it, man. Appreciate it. I don't know. Does this grass look a little bit weirder than yesterday? Something doesn't feel quite right. Yeah, I think it's the... Let's see what we did at the end of last stream and see if it has something to do with it. So, if we take a look at the grass shader here, we have yeah, it's actually debug options, isn't it? Yeah, there we go. 0, 1, okay. Yeah, so the idea I had during yesterday's stream was that right now we pretty much simulate is this how it used to look, by the way? No. Okay. I had this idea to add some extra ambient occlusion. Right now we simulate ambient occlusion by doing... we have a darker color towards the bottom of the ground, and then we colorize the grass straws with that darker color as well. I think it works pretty good for the most part. But I was thinking if... yeah, okay, something is definitely up with this grass. Let's see. I need to get to the bottom of this. I want to do wind strength 0. Yeah. Where do we have it? Here. Yeah, we don't have any random bend, right? It looks a little bit weird. So, why don't we have any random bend? Let's see. What's up, PJ King? Good morning, good morning. And how's the Terraform going? It's going pretty good, I would say. Can't I see... Oh, I've never committed this specific file, so I can't see the difference. What the hell did I manage to screw up yesterday? There's something with the grass that just doesn't feel correct. I think I know. Or do I? Yeah, something is screwed up with the bending, I think. I wonder why, though. We changed a lot with the alpha value here, but we don't use this one that much. Did I do anything with T? I don't think so. With distance multiplier. What's up, Little Miss Murder? I hear you. A couple of years from now, I would guess. And good morning, Geralt. Oh, grass bend. Grass bend increase exponent. Could it be? Could it be? Possibly. Probably not. Thank you, Geralt. Appreciate it. We have something. Yesterday I left right in the middle of something, and today when we began, I just noticed that something felt a little bit off with the grass. I'm just trying to figure out what kind of weird change I made, and unfortunately this one is still not committed. I have this problem lately. I've been noticing that I tend to want, like everybody should, that I want everything that I commit to the master branch should be, or actually everything I commit should work. But I've been having this problem during my streams that, like, as soon as I complete one subtask, I just begin the one right after, or I actually overlap multiple tasks, and I never end on a win. So I just postpone the committing, and I try to avoid it, but this time it really came back and bit me. But yeah, that happens. So now I just have to try and figure out what it is. Because if we take a look at this, something is a bit off. A tiny bit off. I would say that it's the bending. Okay, I might know what it is. I actually know what it is. So, the amount of bend for a grass straw is based on the maximum depth, maximum height of the grass. That's why we get a lot of random bending on tall grass like this. But not on this. It has to be this. So previously we didn't allow for this tall grass. Now we do, and the bending doesn't take that into account. So if we change the maximum height of the grass to where do we have it? Grass proportions. Grass height bounds, I don't know, 0.6. maybe a bit too small. What a fucking problem to have. Little Miss Murder, the previous company I worked for required us to check out an entire branch for each source file we intended to modify, linked to an iteration ID, so help make sense of it. It was an absolute nightmare and a prime example of toxic agility. So, required you to check out an entire branch for each source file we intended to modify. So for instance, if you were gonna have to, like, if you were fixing an issue that included 4 source files, did you have to check it out 4 times then? That doesn't make any sense. And yeah, I would call that toxic agility indeed. A loner wolf. Oh yeah, I appreciate it. Double the follows, nothing wrong with that. Okay, could the problem I've been having possibly be as easy as? No. Had to have a local repository for each branch. Oh yeah. How the hell would how would a pull request look in a case like that? What a mess it must have been in the Git repository. Just too many cross-references, it feels like. Okay, mostly what we changed at the end of yesterday was inside of this one. We did a lot with debug show grid. Let me just comment this one out. And yep. And then we did a lot. Oh yeah, this one as well. Or actually, was it just this one? Input color A, no, I think it was. Yeah, This one might be the culprit, actually. Yeah, definitely gonna commit this after today's stream at least. Let's see what kind of result we get with this. Yeah, looks a little bit better. But then again, we also want... I think the initial... We're gonna do this. I think the initial code looked something like... input color A is bigger than 0.0, then it's 1. We don't want to multiply the ground. There we go. Yeah, it looks better. I like the color of it a bit more. But I think the bending problem still exists, honestly. I think we still have a little bit too little of a bend in the grass. It just looks too well taken care of. So bend 0.5. I like it a little bit more. 1. Yeah. There we go. Let's see. You do a pull request for the lot, and the tech lead would have to sift through everything to merge into master. Yeah, so the tech lead would probably sit with multiple tabs open, cross-referencing different pull requests and stuff like that. Yeah, like, I don't have that much experience with it, but like systems that are just in place for the sole purpose of monitoring employees, have it ever worked, honestly? I don't know. I still wonder though if we do... Yeah, we need to base the bend on... We need to bend the we need to base the bend on length. We don't want to go too far if it's extremely tall, and we still want to bend it a tiny bit when it's small. So yeah, I'm just gonna introduce some small tasks for this. What's up, JD, by the way? The grass looks amazing, been a while. Yeah, long time no see. And thank you for the kind words. I've been having a cold for like 1.5 weeks or something like that, but other than that it has been good. How about you? And Little Miss Murder, it never works, whatever else can be said about Agile. It too easily becomes a tool of control for Hive. What the fuck? 1 sec. Right-wing authoritarian management types who want to micromanage their minions. Maybe there's some truth to it. Yeah, I've never analyzed the agile way of doing things. But I remember, like, we had a course in the university that was all about the agile software development way of thinking. So we did like a test project trying to implement a lot of those things. I think, I don't know, what I remember the most was like test driven development, small quick iterations and whatever. And that's pretty much most of my experience with it. But honestly, like, I think, couldn't you like pick, I think there exists some good things with it. But yeah, all it felt like was less time was spent on development and more time on stuff that eventually didn't move the project forward. Like, you could be sitting and trying to plan a task for a couple of hours, and then you thought you had it on paper. This is how we're going to do this. This is how we're going to implement it. And then you started implementing it, and right off the bat, in some cases, you noticed one thing you hadn't thought about in the planning stage, and you needed to rethink the whole thing. It was just some wasted time. But I guess we were all very inexperienced with it, so I don't know. Maybe someone can make it work. I try to keep an open mind. JD, been good. Hope you feel better soon. Thank you, appreciate it. So this last week, when I've been semi-sick, we've pretty much just polished the terraforming. So getting the grass to work, getting the grass to look a little bit better from further away, stuff like that, mainly. And as you can see, there's still some small things to do, but yeah. And okay, Little Miss Murder, if you warn me to not get you started on TDD, I won't. The grass actually looks pretty damn good, close and far away. But yeah, I want to add 2 tasks which I think I'm gonna focus on today. Yeah, this one we still want to do. Improve visuals. I want to do polish grass bend implementation in such a way that polish grass bend implementation to better make it work better with extremely tall grass. And then I also want to experiment with increasing shadows closer to the ground and decreasing, let's see here, experiment with increasing shadows closer to the ground, experiment with decreasing ambient light closer to the ground. Yeah. Why not? She seems to want to vent a bit. Hey! Sure. Like, I like the I like venting. So like, if you want to, go right ahead. And why not spend 76% of the time creating tests that only helps marginally at the best in the end? Maybe. Jesus. Like, I'm still a tiny bit skeptical about writing tests before you implement something, sure. But for instance, when you have a system in place that works, it just feels like an extra layer of security, you know. So you have X test cases for that code base, and then every time you do a change in that code base, you can just run all of those tests and just see that you haven't broken anything real quick. That's a good use of tests, isn't it? But test driven, I don't know. Me thinks you need to synchronize the waving animation a bit better because it differs between patches, leading to the checkboard effect from afar. Yeah, that's definitely true. So the weather texture we use right now, I think we generate it once and then we add it to each patch. Like, this is just a temporary weather texture, so that might also be it. Like, all of the different patches has a reference to that texture and then do the same calculations. I think we do it based on world space, though, so we don't get clipping between patches. But yeah, you're probably right. We're gonna look into that. But first I need to... I don't want to jump the gun. We might want to get a better weather system in place before we start it. Trauma dumping is frowned upon in Twitch chat. Depends on trauma, I guess. I've never had a case in my chat where trauma dumping has like led to something negative, so I'm open to it for now. We'll see. Maybe one day someone trauma dumps a little bit too much and I have to readjust the rules. Oh, so you mean when you write tests? Okay, do I understand you correctly if like tests lead to you restructuring your class memberships to be able to test them by exposing them? Clients never know what they want, so all tests are invalid after each preview you give them. Jeez. Yeah. Yeah, I think I have a task that is implement a weather system. Don't I? Yeah, we're gonna introduce a few more issues for those kind of things. But I want to do this now. So we're gonna start with this one. For instance, if we have a grass patch that is this tall next to a grass patch that is this tall, I want the bending to look good in both cases. I think right now it looks good here. Maybe a bit too much, maybe not, I don't know. It doesn't look that good here. It's barely not bent here. So let's just take a quick look at that issue. Yeah, I get that point, Little Miss Murder. Is there actually not any way to get around that right now? Isn't it possible to have like a test suite that maybe not. Because I love the way of thinking about the different modules in your software as black boxes with few entry and exit points. So to destroy that for the sake of tests just doesn't sit right. That's a problem. Yeah, that doesn't sound right. Unless you integrate the TDD harness into your classes so they have access to private members. Yeah, that was what I was thinking. Random bend. This one screws it up for us. This one fucks us. Okay, so random bend here. Oops, gotta mute that one. Random bend here. Is initially based on lerping between grass bend bounds, lower bounds and upper bounds with just a random float. But then I decided to multiply it with terrain data G. And that was to... It was a quick way to let short grass not bend that much and tall grass bend a lot. And it's a good thought, but as we can see, it makes the grass look weird, if you ask me. So yeah, definitely want to rethink that. What's up, Max7, by the way? I can't see the message, you retracted it. I hope it was something nice though. And now suddenly your architecture is bloated with TDD boilerplate. I'm just thinking. Harukanan, are you what do you mean by that? Am I stomping? Oh, maybe I did. I'm sorry. I'm gonna try and not do it. Okay, let's see here. I'm gonna try and not... I'm a little bit restless maybe, but I will try not to do it. I'm sorry. So we don't want to do this. Let's remove terrain data G from here and see what kind of effect it has on our grass. Yeah, I think it looks a little bit better, right? Yeah, it does. It does. And this is honestly way too tall grass. I want, or is it? Maybe this is good enough. Yeah, me too, Little Miss Murder, how the cell shading interacts with the grass. Mostly, like, I wondered when I was implementing it how I was gonna solve the outlining with non-outlines objects. And I think like what I'm getting at is you could... So right now, if something non-outlined occludes something that is outlined, we draw outlines around the occluding object. You could also think that you don't draw these extra outlines, but I think this was what I liked the best. Yeah, I think I'm gonna leave the bending as is, and I want to improve, see if we can get some more ambient occlusion going. So there's two places where this is, which affects this. One is the attenuation. So it's basically we read a value from the shadow map if like a pixel is covered by shadow or not, and how much, one could say. And then it's also distance, so you have these lights that are distance based, and the idea then is to, the closer to the ground we are, the more, but it's also, yeah, let's rethink this a bit. So this one gives us a value how lit this pixel should be based on distance from light source. This is only for like area lights and stuff like that, not directional lights. And this is a value how lit the pixel should be based on shadow data we have. So this is a value between 0 and 1 that tells us how lit the pixel is, basically. 1 fully lit, 0 fully unlit, for this light source specifically. What we did for the grass to make the shadow not be as apparent or as noisy or whatnot is that we took we also calculated diffuse value here, so based on light direction and normal, and then we saturate this one, which we shouldn't need to do. I think that's some leftover code, or we saturate it because -1 should be 1, I guess, and then we multiply it with attenuation, and then we actually clamp this value, or one could say we remap it from grass received shadow multiplier, gotta rename this one, to 1. So this means that our shadow, like the grass, can never be 100% unlit. It will always be grass received shadow multiplier lit, basically. Yeah, so this can never be 0. And it's this one we want to base. This one we want to change so that it's higher towards the top of the grass and lower towards the bottom. I will admit to being very curious how the grass would look cell shaded. Let's see here. Fuck, I think we have one solution. Let me check. I actually think we tried exactly that. We should have one version of the grass should have render with outlines flag. Fuck, we don't use this one here. Do we? No. And I just have to say also, I think our outline shader is pretty well, it handles distance pretty good these days, so I don't think it would be all black. We'll take a look. And is it possible to cell shade based on the vertex color? For example, green grass would have dark green cell lines, that would be dark brown, etc. Oh yeah, I've been like it wouldn't be possible right now with the outlines implementation, but that's pretty much just a problem of we could pack that data into the texture, so when we render the outlines we can render them with different colors. I just haven't tried it yet. I think it would look pretty cool. But if I remember correctly, we actually had, I just need to check this, Shadowcaster, Universal Forward. Okay. Because I remember we did both cell shade the grass and outline the grass. And I mean, the result wasn't too bad, it's just not what I envisioned. Yeah, we can possibly, one day when I have more time, I would probably be open to extending the outline shader a bit, try with different colored outlines, as well as re-implementing outlines and cell shading for the grass, because honestly it's pretty damn easy. I just need to show this real quick to make it easier to understand. So we have a cell shade lit shader here. And it just does a we could probably just take this function and replace in procedural grass or actually in terrain procedural grass, we just replace this one with a call to this function. And as for the outlines, it's just as easy as this pretty much. We just add a pass which outputs the view space normals. This one looks a little bit more complicated because we implemented being able to read from a normal texture as well. So if you want to include bump maps or normal textures, then you need to have all of this. Otherwise, you do this, you bring it into view space, and then you output this. You just need a custom pass that has a tag light mode outlines data generation with the current outline implementation. Everything is taken care of. Pretty much what we do here is we just run one additional pass in the shader, which outputs to a normal texture, and then the post-processing post-processing effect takes that texture and generates outlines based on it. So yeah. Interesting stuff. So, once again, grass received shadow multiplier. Let me play around with this one a bit and we can see the difference. So right now we have we can see here that we see the shadows a bit, right? And that is because, yeah, let's do this. So we have grass received shadow multiplier. The value can never be less than 0.2, which is already pretty low. If we make this one greater, we can see that the grass gets more lit and the shadow disappears. So having 1 here, this is basically the equivalent of having the grass be light independent. And the more we bring this down, the smaller value we allow for. So 0.2 is what we have gone with. I don't know if that's a little bit too low. 0.2, maybe. But we can bring it back even more. Make the shadowed part even more shadowed. So we get something like this. So you can see here that shadowed parts are entirely black. I don't think we want to go. And actually now when I see this, it still doesn't affect the grass straws. That's weird. There we go. So with these values we have the unlit parts of the grass are entirely black, so it's the ambient color together with the grass received shadow multiplier that is at work. And I also wonder, like if we do 0 and 0, we can see here that this part of the ground here is not affected by it. I wonder if I want it to be affected. Let's take a look at what happens. So, for a pixel belonging to the ground right around here, we get 1 for this one and 1 for this one. So this one is 1. Then we do diffuse. Yeah, so it's basically attenuation, which is 1, multiplied with diffuse. So whatever the diffuse value is, what we get. So I think I want to affect this one as well. We want to make this one lower the closer to the ground we are, even if it's on a lit part. So and I don't think, do we want to get lower than, let's see, 0.5, 0.2, 0.1, 0. And maybe we could go as low as 0 here. Depends on the ambient. Yeah, I'm thinking about renaming this one, because I think we still want something very similar to this one, because I don't think I ever want to go as far down as 0 here, but maybe I do. Let's see. Grass. Minimum. Grass minimum light exposure value. It's a little bit of a better name, at least. Minimum light exposure value, because it's both diffuse light and yeah, it's diffuse light with shadows and distance taken into account. So maybe. But then I also want to introduce, let's see here. I wonder if I just want something like grass, light exposure, multiplier. Grass light exposure multiplier. Let's try it. So my idea is to use it as specular multiplier. I think we want to rename this one as well. We use it as specular multiplier here. Oh yeah, but we send it in like this. So let's do, so the alpha channel here, we don't have alpha in the grass shader. It's more like a value based on where along the grass straw you are. 1 at the top of the grass straw, 0 at the bottom. And that's why we see this kind of things. Yeah, we're gonna alter that one as well eventually. But yeah, we send in this one here, and then we want to rename it to maybe light exposure variable, and to make it into a specular multiplier, because we only want specular color on the grass straws, we're gonna do light exposure variable is bigger than 0. Okay, now we're free to use this one here. So 1 at the top of a grass straw, 0 at the ground. And then I want something like attenuation is used both for specular color and diffuse color. So I wonder, do we want to work with it here? So basically we could do so what do we actually have in this case? If this one is if it's 1, yeah, the use of this one like this pretty much yeah, let's say we have light exposure and we multiply it with light distance attenuation and light shadow attenuation. This one makes it so that we never go below this value. If this one is low, it will be darker. If this one is big, it will be brighter. The current implementation here allows for this value to be bigger than 1, but the use of it here pretty much implies that we don't want it to be bigger than 1. So I wonder if I want to do saturate here, which means if this one is, yeah, so it's like 0.01 at the bottom, but if this one is very big, I don't know, 100, then this one still becomes 1, this whole thing is still 1, and we just continue on as if nothing. Tutu Jangtron, by the way, thank you for the follow, appreciate it. But I do recognize that name. Ah, I appreciate it. And Tutu Apps, I know CoffeeScript, never heard of. Let's try this, see what kind of result we get. I think we're gonna get, first of all, we renamed a variable, so we're gonna get a, yeah, grass minimum, yeah, let's do this. And then we do .2. Let's try it. Okay, this is rough. Yeah, grass light exposure multiplier. Like all of this happens for the ground as well. And then I'm talking about the ground without grass. Oops, that's not the terraforming I wanted. So yeah, I think it's way darker at the bottom than on the top now. Let's see. So if we go and do, if we put this one to oh yeah, one more thing. I want to double check light exposure variable here. It should be equal to minimum between 0.01 and T. And T is equal to grass subdivision. Yeah, okay. But a value of 1,000 here gives us the same. It doesn't really give us the same as previously. Because I want to compare. Exposure is equal to 1.0. Yeah, because light exposure can actually be 0. Like this one can be 0, so all of this can be so it's 0 for the ground, which means that this one is 0 for the ground. We multiply it here, which means that this one can become 0, which means that this one can become 0, so we get this value. Okay, I get it. I just didn't think it would be that's interesting. And we don't get as much gradient effect as I would have hoped. Maybe. Yo, what's up, Cooler SK, by the way? Yeah, this is way too... maybe a remap here is better. This is what we want to achieve, but maybe not as aggressive. Okay, I think we can still do it, but we need to readjust it a bit. Yeah. 0.5. Grass light exposure multiplier. I wonder if we want to do something. Grass light exposure. Boundary. Okay. And then we do grass light exposure boundary. And we calculate light exposure by doing lerp instead between .x, .y, and then the light exposure variable. So at the bottom of the grass we use this value, at the top of the grass we use this value, in between we interpolate, and then we use this one here. Yeah, I think this is a better solution. Oh yeah, invalid subscript, because I think I defined it. It's still defined as a float here. I'll change that to float 4. Okay, so this is how it originally looks. And then if we play around with 1 1. If we go 0, we get this. Okay, I think this is better. So if we do 0.5, oh, we can actually go. Gee. Yeah, we don't want to do that. But if we go to 1, and then I think I want to introduce one additional value here. Grass light exposure boundary. The interpolation that towards, like when we go up towards the grass, I might want to make that non-linear. So we might want to go with more towards the bottom, less towards the top, and not linearly. So if we have 0.5 right now, so if we follow a grass straw, we will have 0.5 at the bottom, and then we will interpolate. I guess we can do 0.6. Does this one help? 0. 0.1 here should give us fully lit at the top, but unfortunately it does not. Light exposure will lerp between x and y given a value that is between 0 and 1. Is it between 0 and 1? Ah, no. Okay. Yeah, of course. In fact, do I want to rely on inverse lerp here instead? Light exposure variable. Maybe I want to do inverse lerp here instead. So light exposure variable 0 to 1 linearly following the full grass straw. I always want the top of the grass straw to be lit with 1. But never the bottom with 0. Lerp removes that possibility. Inverse lerp reintroduces that possibility. So we want to avoid that, I think. Yo, what's up, DevSpiers? Hope you had a wonderful stream, and thank you so much for the raid. Always appreciated. And like so many times before, we're still dabbling with terrain and grass over on this stream. You too, DevSpies, you too, and thank you once again for the raid. I appreciate it. So, lerp in this case is pretty much just used to set a minimum value. In fact, do I want to do remap instead? Yeah, I think we do. have that. Actually, did we implement it ourselves? Util math? Remap. No. Okay. But before I do that, I really need to go over I think we want to keep it like this. This one is a little bit unused, but I think I'm okay with that. And then if we set it to be something else than linear interpolation, we should be able to fix this. Yeah, I think we're gonna keep it like this. But the same calculation we do here, I wonder if I want to do the same calculation. So right now we have taken care of the shadow. So the closer to the ground we are, the more intense is the shadow, I think. Or the more covered by shadow we are. That is true. This is intensity. But I don't think I want more intensity than this. Maybe 1. Okay, but let's keep this one at 0.5 right now. 0.15. I want to get, before I drag around these knobs more, I want to get the ambient lighting onto the same page. So we also want to base the ambient color, so the grass ambient constant, on this variable. And I wonder, isn't it exactly this we want to do? So then I wonder if we might want to put light exposure outside of this one, calculate it outside of here, and then send it in. Because we only use light exposure variable for this calculation and the thresholding here. This one still stands. So let's try and do this. Variable. And then we do calculate lighting, light exposure variable, color.a. In fact, do I want to break the line even here? Maybe I do. Light exposure variable, and then we want to, sorry. And then we want to send in this one here instead of input color A. I want to look into this one as well. But yes. So now we have the light variable, light exposure variable outside here. I think it should work exactly the same as previously. Now we just have it outside. That's good, 0.5. So now we can use it here as well. And I wonder if we just want to do this. Yeah, I think that's what we want to do. So now it's way darker towards the bottom, right? Also on the top, unfortunately. Or is it? It's hard to see. What if we do 0.2? Yeah, it's way darker all over. Yeah, that's true. Or 0.8? Maybe it's not true. No, I don't think it is. But, I mean, is it even darker at the bottom in this case? Yeah, it is, no doubt. Yeah, I definitely think the linear interpolation screws us over a bit. Do like the bottom. Yeah, we want to be more aggressive towards the bottom and less so towards the top. So it's more like we use a value that is linear all along the grass straw. Once again, 0 at the bottom, 1 at the top. We want to make it so that it grows quicker, basically. So maybe when we're halfway to the top, it's 1. And how can we do that in a nice way? Remap, definitely. Inverse lerp. Light exposure variable. Fuck. I just want to see lerp min. Grass light exposure boundary dot sed. Grass light exposure boundary dot w, and then lerp of this. Yeah, and then we do so we do a lerp here, and then we do an inverse lerp here, because then we could pretty much make, if this one is 0.5, no, yeah, if this one is 0.5 we get 1. If this one is 0.5, as soon as this one is 0.5 we get 1. wonder. Oh, did I screw this one up? Okay, but if we do very cool. If we do 0, 1, then we get the normal values again. So let's do it for this one as well. 0. Oh, that's not the correct one. 0, 1. And then for this one we set this one to 0.5, doesn't change anything, but now if we go down here, how am I screwing this one up? Yeah, we want to do 0.5. I think we can add a saturate here as well. I'm becoming a little bit tired of my custom implementation of inverse lerp, that it doesn't stop at 1. Okay, so if this, yeah, of course, 0.5. Any value above 0.5 is 1. Yeah, that's not exactly how we want it to work. Okay, this is pretty much the effect I want, but for some reason my implementation was a little bit wrong. We can see here that it is extremely dark towards the bottom. Yeah, there we go. Something like this. Okay, so why... We take the input color A here, 0 at the bottom, 1 at the top, and then we do a lerp between this one and this one, which means that this one will result in this value at 0, this value at the top, right. And we want a value of 1 at the top, 0 at the bottom. Not exactly, but 5. Min max float. So currently this lerp here is between 0 and 1, so it should pretty much just return this value, I think. And then we do an inverse lerp. Oops, sorry about that. If we do an inverse lerp only with this one, we should be... this shouldn't be needed. Is my inverse lerp not implemented correctly? I'm sorry. Today Hadoukanen. A lot of extra noises during today's stream. I'm sorry about it. It is my inverse lerp implemented the wrong way. Fuck, it would suck. Yeah. Any value of this that is bigger than this one should return 1. Saturate should not be needed. This one should return a value between 0 and 1 for show. Interesting. Very interesting. Oh. Yeah, I know what's wrong. This. There we go. Thank you. So let's remove that one. Okay, hard to implement something when you got the value you depend on is wrong. The top of the grass is the same now. Okay, now it should work as I thought it would. Now it should work as it works. because now we use the same value or the correct value to calculate it. So let's try it. 0. Oh fuck yeah. Beautiful. 0.5. Ooh. Love it. Yeah. Looking pretty lighter. Okay, great. Yeah. Although 0.6, 8. This one we don't want to do things with. This one we might. 0.5. 1. Hell yeah. 0.2. 4. We don't want to be as aggressive with it. 0.15, 0.2, okay, 4, 5, 6, 7. Wonder though. The question, okay. I also want to base this one on how tall the grass is here. So the idea is to have it darker the taller the grass is. And so we basically want grass light exposure boundaries. We want to base these on we want to add one additional variable here. But this makes me wonder. Let's go 0, 1. If we just do lerp now. Maybe that's enough. Like the less variables we make it depend on, the better, I would say. This is great, I think. We still get a little bit of a darker grass overall. That's unfortunate, but I wonder if we can do... we still want 1 at the top, so I wonder if we can do... I wonder if we can do 1.0 and then we multiply the y variable with this one. So this one this one decides the bottom light exposure variable. And this one decides how quick we grow this one, basically. So yeah, if we have 0 on the bottom, it's going to be extremely dark, but that's okay. And then we can do... yeah, so if we go up to 1 here, we have the default. And if we go 0, we have worst case scenario, but I think I'm okay with that. And then we can make, so we make this one. Yeah, and it can be. Yeah, okay. But if we do, we introduce saturate here. I find this kind of, let's say I want to see mathf unity lerp HLSL lerp. The parameter t is clamped in the range of 0 and 1. Yes. Like this is how I want it to work. Yeah. This one pretty much, so I guess it does linear interpolation and extrapolation. I don't know. Yeah. Yeah, so we just do this basically, which means that we can be above and below. So what we want to do is the unity way. So instead of saturating all of this, I guess it would be enough to just saturate the input color A. Work lamp, saturate HLSL. Yeah. Definitely don't want that. But what am I misunderstanding in this case? Oh yeah. Sorry about that. There we go. I don't know. Yeah, it's probably how I want it to work, I would say. Two, three, four. Um, 0.5. Yeah. Okay, so now I want to introduce the terrain data as well. In what way I want to introduce it. Could we just take one? So the lower value here, we just take I wonder if I want to take 1 minus terrain data.g. So that gives us 1 when it's extremely short grass and 0 when it's extremely tall grass. And then we multiply whatever value we get there with this one. But yeah, if we multiply, then we have the problem of 0 again. Let's try and just do. We read terrain data here, so I want to try and do. Let's save this one, and we do 1.0 minus terrain data.g. Barely, if any, change here. Yeah, and actually before we continue, 0.8401. we have any difference between this one and this one. I don't know if I see it. We do. I want to fix this as well, but we're gonna get to that. We do. Beautiful. I get this as well. I do. So it actually is. Yeah, it's way darker. But the problem is, I guess I would also like it feels like I want it to affect if we change to let's make it 1. Let's see, I want 1 full patch of it. Let's take this one. I think this is a good. And now we also have specular on the ground, which I want to avoid. We can get to that. Let's see, where do we have it? Here we have it. I think I like it. I want to see. So if we jump down to only subdividing it 0 times, is it actually? Can I get rid of the Unity remove orange tint on selection? Unity preference. And what do we have? pre-selection highlight. Yeah, selected. Why? There we go. I honestly can't. It's darker towards the middle, right? Yeah, it is. But I want to change. Let's see here. For taller grass, we want it to. We want to darken higher and higher up per grass straw. So. Do we want to make yeah, I think it's this one we want to alter as well. Okay. So 2. I think this is quite okay. Yeah, but then we want to make the exponent a little bit bigger as well. I think we can fix that. But one more thing. We still have... By doing these changes, we reintroduce specular highlight on the actual ground. Never want that. So, light exposure variable. Yeah. So it's actually the other way around in this case. So we get 1 for the ground. Yeah. So 1 for the ground. Okay. Ground, no grass, 1. Grass, if we have a lot of grass, ground is closer to 0. Yeah? I think this one pretty much, the name explains exactly what this is. But the problem then is when we calculate specular color and we use light exposure variable, we can no longer do this. Like ground without grass has a light exposure variable of 1, and that's how it should be, but we still don't want specular highlights. But we do want specular highlights on grass that has a light exposure variable of 1. So I think we do need to send in one extra variable here. It's okay. And light exposure variable, and then we do float specular multiplier as we had previously. And then we do this. So light, we return the final Blindfong is light diffuse color times albedo plus specular multiplier times light exposure variable times grass specular color A times light specular color. Yeah, specular multiplier. So this one I think we just want to send in this as input color A. I wonder, however, how this will affect it, if it will affect it in any other way. That I haven't taken into account. So these two, this one is 0 for the ground, 0.1 higher up on the grass. I think this is okay. And we get some specular highlights. Minor improvement. It's just this is one of those type of improvements. It's so damn minor, so I'm like questioning if I'm having like a placebo effect, like if there's actually no difference and I just think there is. But I think it's way darker here. Maybe we want the effect a bit more though. Let's see, 3, and if we go to 1 minus terrain data G. I just want to try and do placebo difference indeed. I want to do min terrain data G 1.0. So we never want to go higher than 1. But here we do 2 times terrain data G. Jesus, what's up with the bots today? Why are we not seeing more of a gradient here? Let's take this one. Dot Z. And then we do grass light exposure boundary. It's weak. Oh. Why is it so weak? Zero. Between 0 and 1. So we lerp between this value and 1. We do it by grass times input color A. Yeah. And maybe it's not that weak actually. But I do think we want to leave it at as 1. So we're just gonna do this. What's up, Scafer? Possibly. All in all, I think this is a good change. So let's take a look at it. Oh shit. lerp. Yeah, we want to remove that one. So here we have taller grass, we have darker ground, and we also draw the grass straws darker from the start. More shadows as well, pretty sure. Yeah, I think this is the type of effect I want. Yeah, definitely. I want to see. So the shadow is darker the lower we are, lighter the higher up we are, right? Yeah, definitely. Nice. How's the grass going? It's going pretty good, I would say. So 2 things I wanted to fix today, we have fixed. I think it looks a little bit better. Yeah. The further away we are, that is also true. The further away we are, see. Yeah, one more thing I want to do. The green color at the bottom should be affected by the green color at the bottom should be affected by the amount of grass as well. Yeah. And then we can make, so we make it a brighter green the thinner the grass is as well, I think. Yeah, still some small things to do. Yeah, tall grass indeed. I wonder, however, like this is probably the tallest grass I will support. Like the popping is extra apparent on tall grass, definitely, but yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna add 2 more tasks. Finish 2 tasks, add 2 more. This one we haven't done yet, I don't think. Yes. Alter or adjust dark adjust ground green color based on terrain. Or actually, we're gonna call it grass density, and then we can do terrain data.g. Grass density is a pretty bad word for it. And then I want one more thing. Base light exposure variable on distance from camera. Like the current implementation, we have light exposure variable, so the further, like the closer to the ground we are and the more grass we have, the less light exposure we have. And that works nice when we look at it up close. The further away we run, the less grass we're going to render, which means that you're going to see the bottom of the grass more, which means that we should adjust the light exposure for this. And the good thing with this is we can make it a it's going to be a transition effect, because like distance is a float, so we can just base it on that each frame, if that makes any sense. Adjust ground green color based on grass density. This one is more like, if we take a look at this little patch here, it's a question of if it's two things actually, now when I think of it. Make it a little bit more like the grass color here would probably not hurt, but in the case of very tall grass, we also want the green color to go up towards the grass a bit more, I think. So we're gonna add two subtasks here. Make tall grass, make the dark green color appear higher up on tall grass, and make the ground a tiny bit more upper grass colored on make the dark green color appear high up on grass when terrain data.g is high, colored when terrain data.g is low. So when it comes to this one, it's the, let's take a look at this one, and then we can go to a variable called grass lower to upper exponent. The higher this one is, the higher up we go. So for tall grass we want to make this one, I guess we want to make it a 3 maybe. Get more of this effect. For small grass we want to make it less. Yes. And then for the other solution, let's take a look. This one possibly. I wonder if we want to make it way smaller. I don't know how that would work. So if we have 0.5, we don't change it at all. So that's not. Yeah, we're gonna have to do. I think we're gonna have to do. Yeah, that one might be a little bit harder, but the first one should be pretty easy and straightforward. Unfortunately, I think we're gonna have to convert grass lower to upper exponent. We're going to have to convert this one into a vector. Possibly rename it as well. Yeah. This one, we use it in 3 places, or we use it in 1 place, define it twice. Yeah, so I want to rename it. Let's just do it like this. Grass lower to upper exponent boundary. We can do dot x, and then we jump back up here and we change it to a vector. And I'm just gonna do as a default value. So when this one was a float, it had a value of 2. Okay, let's see what we have. So do we want to introduce one additional lerp here? I think so. And we want to do it on float. Terrain data grass. Lerp from X, Y, and we use terrain data grass. Y. So if this one is low, we choose this value, or if it's 0, it's this value. If it's 1, it's this value. Otherwise, if it's between, we interpolate between these two. Is this actually all we need to do? I think so. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, we need to send in one thing here. We need to send in terrain data. Yeah. Okay, so right now it's exactly as it was. I think, yeah, 2, 2, 2, 2. So if we change to 4, yeah. Yeah, that might be about it. I want to see. I want to go with 1. One, 2, 4. Okay, so this is how it was, a bit more uniform. 1, 4. Darker when it's taller. One, 4. Yeah, definitely want this. 1, 4. Let's see. 1, 4. Oops, what did I do? There we go. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, definitely. The drawback, I would say, like, it looks way more realistic. But I still think it's stylized enough to work with the character. I definitely want the option to control this, so it's pretty much, we just try to fake ambient occlusion here. That's all we do. Like, we want to fake it so that the taller the grass is, the less light reaches the bottom of the grass, right? That's all we do. And of course, introducing more systems that try to mimic real life light makes it a tiny bit more realistic, but I still think it's okay. And I can just go back to... I could just go back to... Where are we looking? How it was. 2, 2. I think it's here. It's extremely visible. How it was, how it is. So you see, this part is still light. This becomes darker, right? Now it's light, 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 dark. It's a tiny, tiny, tiny thing. And then of course we can rely on make it more stylized. Yeah. Honestly, this looks pretty damn great. Yeah, we want to be a little bit more lenient on when we draw geometry as well. We can see here that we get some shadow artifacts like this because like we don't render the grass behind the camera, but the grass behind the camera adds a bit of shadow. But I wonder if that is the way we do the shadow calculation is possibly wrong as well. Which reminds me, Shadowcaster, to do read up on shadow, yes. Improve visuals, do we have this one here? Yeah, let's add it. Re-implement Shadowcaster pass taking normal bias into account. And then we can remove this one. I think that's good. So what was the other task? It was... What's up, Space Frogs? Thank you so much for the raid, appreciate it. Hope you had a wonderful stream. And to all the new viewers, we're just over here working with terrain, terraforming and mostly grass. Mostly grass, I'm gonna be honest. Pretty much all grass. It was a good stream. Nice to hear, nice to hear. The other thing I wanted to fix with the grass is... Okay, yeah, so the shorter grass we have, the more we want the ground color to mimic the grass color. And the taller grass we have, the more I wanted to use this lower color. We played Little Kitty Big City. Is that something I want to Google? Shadow Song Site, thank you for the follow, appreciate it. And what's up? It's a good small game. Okay, I don't know, like the title could be something else, you know. 5845, thank you for the follow as well. Okay, let's see. I want to check it. I'm gonna be cautious. I'm gonna be cautious. Oh, I think I've seen this game. This one, right? Yeah, I've watched someone play this. Little Kitty Big City. Shadow Song Site. Sounds good, sounds good. Thank you once again for the follow, appreciate it. It is small but good. Is it similar to... What was the name of that cat game that got a lot of... exposure? What the fuck was it called? Stray? Thank you, appreciate it, Shadow Song. Yes, Stray. Stray, exactly. Is the gameplay similar? Stray indeed. Okay, so make the ground a tiny bit more upper grass colored when terrain data G is low. Make it more grass colored when it's... or the other way around. So to fix this one we need to go to output color. This is where we output the color of the ground in this function. Oh, we do a lot of things here. It's more than Stray. Stray is a press X walking simulator, but this is more like do small side quests and platforming. Ooh. Sounds more like my type of game then I guess. Okay, this is going to be way more complicated than I first thought. Or well, maybe not. Let's take a look. Here we have grass lower color multiplier. We use this one 2 times, so we use it here and we use it here. So we pretty much just want to weight this linear interpolation more towards this value, the less grass density we have. And it's actually exactly the same here. Okay, so that is great. It is. We can simplify it quite a bit. So we want to make it happens. A lot of things happens here. Grass lower decrease multiplier. I'm very intrigued by this one. Grass color decrease multiplier. Oh, so this one, yeah. So this one is a... This is a variable we have in here to make the grass a lighter color the further away we are. So the less grass straws we render, the lighter we want the ground to be. So instead of making this a problem, could we possibly use this one? Yo, what's up, Fabic? How are you doing today? Dropping in like right at the end of the stream, I think. What have I missed? We have just made subtle improvements to the grass. Basically, yeah, I don't blame you. It was a joke. But hope you had a nice sleep. So basically all we have done is subtle improvements. The taller the grass, the more ambient occlusion we simulate in it, basically. So maybe I should fix a before and after GIF, but we can now see that, like, if it's tall grass, the grass density is high, we make it a little bit darker towards the bottom in here, so less light gets into the grass. Yeah, I think the result is pretty good, actually. So short grass we don't affect it that much, but taller grass we simulate ambient occlusion more, so it's darker down at the bottom. Looks a little bit more realistic, but I still think it's stylized enough for our use case. And now we're actually at the... So we have done these two and this one. And now I'm trying to do this one. This one, however, turned out to be as complicated as these two. But, so this one is more about if we have... Let's see... Yeah, if we have grass like this, we want to make the ground grass color, which is a dark gray right now, we want to make it a little bit more like the grass color. So make it more like the color we have for the grass straws and less this dark color, basically. But yeah, I don't think we will have time to finish that one today. Barely started because I gotta run. But yeah, I'm a big fan of this faked ambient occlusion we got going on now. I think it makes the tall grass look way better. I think like I had a good example a few minutes ago. I wonder if this one is as good though. Let's see. So previously I think it looked like this. So all the grass was pretty light, and now we have this. So it's still light out here, but it's darker here. Just one of those small polishes, you know. But yeah, tomorrow I'm gonna try this one, and then after tomorrow's stream I think we're done with the grass for a bit. We're gonna do some other also interesting stuff, because unfortunately I need to run now. Thank you to all the new followers, and thank you everybody for watching. I appreciate it, and have a great rest of the day. I'm sorry, Peach. See you tomorrow, hopefully. Have a great one, everybody.